My husband said I was overreacting when his best friend slept in our bedroom. That sentence changed how I saw my marriage, forever. Because how do you explain to a grown man that another woman sleeping in your matrimonial bed is not something a wife should ignore? But before I tell you how everything happened, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment where you're watching from. Now sit back and listen carefully. People always describe my marriage as calm. They said I was lucky. They said my husband didn't stress me. What they didn't know was that my silence was doing all the work. My name is Esther, and I was raised to endure. Growing up, my mother believed a woman's strength was her ability to stay quiet. She used to say, "A peaceful home is better than being right." So I learned early that speaking up was dangerous. If someone offended me, I smiled. If I was treated unfairly, I endured. By the time I met Gabriel, silence already lived inside me. Gabriel was confident, well-spoken, the kind of man people admired. When he introduced me to Amina, he did it casually. "This is Amina," he said. "She's like my sister." Amina smiled and hugged him tightly. "So you're Esther," she said. "I've heard so much about you." "All good things, I hope," I replied. She laughed. "Of course." I smiled. I didn't know that hug was my first warning. Everyone thought Gabriel would marry Amina. They had history, chemistry, comfort. So when he chose me instead, people were shocked. Even Amina. She laughed and said, "Well, life is funny." Marriage didn't push her away. It brought her closer. Amina was always around. She came without calling, answered Gabriel's phone, sat beside him like she belonged there. Sometimes I would enter the living room and find her wearing my slippers. When I mentioned it, Gabriel laughed. "Esther, she's free like that." So I stayed quiet. A few months later, I traveled. Just 2 nights. My aunt was sick, and my mother asked me to come along. Before I left, Gabriel said, "Amina might pass by to check on the house." I nodded. I had learned not to question statements that were already decisions. I returned earlier than planned. The journey was stressful. All I wanted was my bed. When I opened the door, the house smelled different. Full of perfume. Not mine. I dropped my bag slowly and walked toward the bedroom. The door was slightly open. I pushed it and froze. Amina was asleep on my bed, wrapped in my duvet. My heart began to race. I stepped back, just as Gabriel walked in. I turned to him slowly. "Why is she sleeping here?" He frowned. "What's wrong with you?" "She slept in our bedroom," I said. He sighed deeply. "You're making it sound worse than it is." I lowered my voice. "Where did you sleep?" "On the couch." "So the guest room was empty?" "Yes, but..." "So why didn't she sleep there?" "Esther, stop this," I whispered. "This is our bed." He looked at me like I was unreasonable. Then he said it. "Why are you overreacting?" Nothing happened. I stared at him. "Another woman slept in our bed." "She's my friend," he snapped. "She's not your wife." Silence filled the room. Then he added, "You're the only one making this dirty." That was the moment something inside me cracked. After that, the disrespect grew louder. On my birthday, Gabriel came home late with Amina. Gabriel handed her a box. She opened it and gasped. "Oh my God, Gabriel." Inside was an expensive wristwatch. "This is beautiful," she said, hugging him. I watched quietly. Later that night, I asked softly, "You didn't get me anything?" He paused, then went to the kitchen. He returned with a box, a blender. "You said we needed one," he said. I laughed. "Is this my birthday gift?" He frowned. "You're not materialistic." I nodded and cried alone in the bathroom. Amina's joke started after that. "Marriage has really tamed you, Gabriel." He laughed. "If it were me living here," she added, "this house wouldn't be this quiet." I looked at him. He laughed harder. That laughter hurt the most. The embarrassment became public, at a family wedding. Music played. People danced. Gabriel stood up suddenly. "Come," he said to Amina. They danced. Close. Someone behind me whispered. "Isn't that his wife?" My chest burned. I stood there, alone. That night, I finally spoke. "You embarrassed me today," I said. Gabriel scoffed. "Here we go. You danced with her like I wasn't there." "So what?" he snapped. "She's my friend." "This is not normal," I said. He slammed the table. "You're jealous. You're insecure." Amina stepped forward. "Gabriel, calm down." He turned to her. "I'm tired of this drama. I'm your wife." He laughed bitterly. "And you're acting like a child." That night, he packed a bag. "I need space," he said. I followed him. "Please, let's talk." He ignored me. Then he turned to Amina. "Let's go." She hesitated briefly. Then smiled and followed him out. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. What do you think Esther should do? Days passed. No calls. No messages. I stopped eating. I thought the dizziness was stress. Until I collapsed. My neighbor happened to be around that day and rushed me to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctor spoke softly. "You're pregnant." I stared at him. What?" "About 3 weeks," he said. "But you need rest. Stress is dangerous right now." For the first time in days. I smiled. Then reality rushed back. "Gabriel." I picked up my phone and called him. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. I didn't know my number had been blocked. That night, I didn't sleep. By morning, fear had replaced joy. I needed to tell him. I needed him to know. So I did the one thing I had avoided for years. I called Amina. She answered calmly. "Hello, Esther." "Please," I said immediately. "I need to speak to Gabriel." She replied. "He's not in a good mood." "I just need 5 minutes," I said. "It's important." "How important?" she asked. "Please," I repeated. She sighed. "Okay," she said. "Come over." "He's with me." My heart skipped. "With you?" "Yes," she replied casually. "My place." Something felt wrong. But desperation has a way of silencing warning signs. Amina lived in a gated estate. Quiet. Neat. Too calm. When she opened the door, she smiled. "Come in." I stepped inside and looked around. Gabriel's shoes were by the door. My chest tightened. "He's in the bathroom," she said. "Sit." I remained standing. "I'll wait." She studied me for a moment. Then said, "You look tired." "I'm pregnant," I said suddenly. The words spilled out. Her smile froze. Then slowly returned. "Oh," she said. "Congratulations." But her eyes were cold. "He needs to know," I said. "Please call him." She shook her head. "He already knows." I stared at her. "What do you mean?" "He knows you're claiming pregnancy," she said calmly. "He thinks you're saying it to bring him back." My legs felt weak. "It's not a lie," I said. I collapsed. I was in the hospital. She crossed her arms. "Even if it's true, do you really think it will change anything?" "Yes," I replied. "He's my husband." She laughed quietly. "That's exactly the problem." Amina stepped closer. "Gabriel doesn't love you," she said. "He married you because you're manageable." I shook my head. "That's not true." "He wanted peace," she continued. "I wanted honesty. Passion. Fire. So why didn't he marry you?" I asked. Her jaw tightened. "Because I wouldn't tolerate being ignored." I exhaled sharply. "So you waited?" She smiled. "I stayed." "You brought me here to humiliate me," I said. "No," she replied calmly. "I brought you here to end it." I stepped back. "You're sick." She moved closer. "Look around you," she said. "His shoes are here. His clothes are here." My chest burned. He's choosing, she added softly. And he's already here. My phone buzzed. A message from Gabriel. I'm coming. Relief and fear crashed together. I'm leaving, I said. I turned toward the door. Amina grabbed my arm. Wait. Let go of me. You don't get to run, she snapped. I pulled back. She pushed. I stumbled. We were near the staircase. My foot slipped. Time slowed as I reached out for the railing. My hand missed. I fell. I heard footsteps. Shouting. Gabriel's voice. When I opened my eyes, pain tore through my body. Amina was on the floor nearby, holding her ankle. Crying loudly. Gabriel rushed in. Amina, he shouted. He ran straight to her. Are you okay? He asked frantically. She sobbed. She pushed me, she cried. I tried to speak. Gabriel. My voice was weak. He glanced at me briefly. Then turned back to Amina. Don't worry, he said. I've got you. He lifted her. That was the moment I knew. Even in danger. Even with everything. He would always choose her first. I called a cab and blacked out on the way to the hospital. When I woke up, my body ached. The doctor stood beside me. We did everything we could, she said gently. But the pregnancy couldn't be saved. I closed my eyes. Something inside me went silent forever. Gabriel came later. I didn't know, he said, crying. I swear I didn't know. I looked at him calmly. Even if you knew, I said. You still would have gone to her first. He said nothing. We are getting a divorce, I said. The room went quiet after I said it. We are getting a divorce. Gabriel stared at me, like he hadn't heard correctly. What? He asked, with a short laugh. No. You're just angry. I didn't respond. He shook his head slowly. Esther, stop this. You don't mean it. I looked at him calmly. I do. Gabriel stood up suddenly. You can't just wake up one day and decide to end a marriage, he said. After everything I've done for you. I almost smiled. Exactly, I replied. That confused him even more. He ran his hand through his hair. You're overreacting, he said again, softer this time. You always do this. You need to calm down. I shook my head. I used to calm down because I was afraid, I said. Now I'm calm because I'm sure. For the first time. Gabriel looked unsure. You never complained, he said quietly. You never said it was this bad. I met his eyes. I did complain. You just never listened. Because it made your life easy. That hit him. But not enough. Not yet. That night, after I packed my things and left, Gabriel sat alone in the living room. The house felt strange. Too quiet. Not peaceful. Just empty. Amina came out of the bedroom and sat beside him. It's fine, she said, placing her hand on his arm. She'll come back. Women like Esther always come back. Gabriel didn't respond. She just wants attention, Amina continued. You know I'll always be here for you. She smiled. But Gabriel wasn't smiling. For the first time, a question crept into his mind. Why would a woman who endured everything choose to leave? I stayed in a small hotel for a few weeks. Away from everyone. Away from noise. That was when I finally heard my own thoughts, clearly. I realized something. Love that requires silence is not love. Peace that costs your voice is not peace. I had spent years choosing everyone else. Now, I chose myself. I enrolled in a baking program in France. Something I had always wanted to do. But never thought I deserved. The day my plane took off, I looked out the window and felt light for the first time in years. Not because my life was perfect, but because it was finally mine. Some people mistake silence for satisfaction. They think endurance means happiness. But when a woman stops speaking, it doesn't mean she has nothing to say. It often means she has already decided to leave. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Comment if you would like to see how Gabriel's life turned out after. Check out other videos on our channel for more stories like this.